Okay, let's talk about something real. We're going to get into something that every single one of us in this room has felt, or you're going to feel it soon, surviving your first code blue. And I'm not just talking about the algorithms, not just the meds. I'm talking about surviving the experience as a clinician and maybe more importantly, as a human being.
Look, you know the song, but this isn't just about losing yourself in the music. This is the physiological reality of your sympathetic nervous system slamming the big red button the second you hear someone yell, "Grab the cart!" Your body is getting you ready to fight a saber-toothed tiger, not to carefully drop a milligram of epinephrine.
We all spend so much time in the sim lab, right? But the world inside that room and the world inside Trauma Bay 1, they are universes apart. Mannequins don't bleed. They don't have a terrified family member watching your every single move from the corner of the room. In sim, everything is predictable. But that gap, that chasm between the simulation and the absolute unpredictable chaos of reality, that is where we have to learn how to swim, not sink.
So, here's our roadmap. We're going to walk through the entire arc of a code together. We'll start with what happens before it even begins. We'll navigate the chaos in the middle, and this is so important. We're going to spend some real time on what happens long after it's over. This is the whole journey.
So first things first, before you can even think about treating the patient, you have got to understand and manage what is happening inside your own body. You know the feeling. Your heart just starts hammering against your ribs. Your vision literally tunnels, and all of a sudden, trying to spike a bag of saline feels like trying to thread a needle in the dark while wearing boxing gloves. It's a completely normal survival mechanism, but it was designed for running, not for thinking.
And let's be perfectly clear about something. You already know the algorithms. We have drilled ACLS into your brains. This isn't about that. This is about managing the internal storm so that you can actually perform those steps. This is about survival. For your patient, yes, but just as importantly, for you.
Which brings us to a really critical point. The most important work you will ever do in a resuscitation, it happens before you even lay a hand on the patient. It happens in those 10 seconds it takes you to walk from the nurse's station to that room.
And I'm serious, I want you to really think about this for a second. When you hear that overhead page and you start moving towards the room, what is the very first pulse you should check?
Your own. And I'm not being poetic. If you charge into an already chaotic room with your own heart rate at 150, you don't solve the chaos. You become part of it. You become another problem that has to be managed.
So, what do? We breathe. This is science. It's called box breathing. On your way to the room, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. This simple act slams the brakes on that fight-or-flight response. It engages your parasympathetic nervous system, and it literally gives you back the cognitive bandwidth you need to think clearly.
Once you're calm, you can use that tiny, precious window of time before the patient arrives to prepare. You got a 2-minute ETA from EMS? Go to the bathroom. I'm not kidding. Go. Crack open that crash cart. Get your IV start kit out. Line up your lab tubes. Get your modern alchemy ready, the epi, the amio, the bicarb. Every single second you buy yourself by being prepared is another second you can give back to that patient when they need it most.
All right, so you've centered yourself. You took your breath, now you're in the room and it's time to find your place. Think of it like a pit crew. Everyone has a specific job, and we all move as one efficient, life-saving machine.
And if you're new or you walk into a code that's already moving, there is only one question you need to ask. You find the code leader, you make eye contact, and you ask, what do you need? It's simple, it's direct, and it cuts through all the noise. It says, I'm here, I'm ready, put me to work.
For our newer nurses, defaulting to one of these 3 roles is an incredible way to contribute. You got all that adrenaline pumping? Awesome. Get on the chest and deliver deep, fast, high-quality compressions. Burn it off. You want to learn the rhythm and flow of a code? Be the scribe. You will see everything, you will hear everything, and you'll call out those crucial time checks. And please, never underestimate the runner. That person is the lifeline to the entire hospital. They are critical.
The most dangerous thing you can possibly do in a code is nothing. Just hovering. Standing near the bed without a task just creates more noise, it obstructs the view of the team leader, and you physically get in the way. If you don't have a role, find one. And if that room is already full of people doing their jobs, the best thing you can do is step out and see what the rest of the ER needs. The hospital doesn't stop for a code.
Okay, let's talk about what actually makes a resuscitation work. This isn't some kind of magic. It all comes down to simple physics and chemistry.
And that brings us to maybe the single most important metric we have, compression fraction. Look, every single second that hands are off the chest, the pressure that actually pushes blood into the heart muscle itself, the coronary perfusion pressure, it drops to almost nothing. It takes several good compressions just to build that pressure back up. We can't afford to waste a single second.
This needs to be burned into all of our brains. We do not pause compressions for intubation. We do not pause compressions to get an IV. The only time hands come off the chest is for a rapid rhythm and pulse check, and that pause has to be less than 10 seconds, or to deliver a shock. That's it. Keep those hands moving.
In a loud, stressful room, your brain does this weird thing called auditory exclusion. It literally starts filtering out sounds it thinks are unimportant. That's why we can't just yell things into the void. We have to communicate with intention. We have to organize the chaos.
This is how we do it. The leader gives a clear, direct order. The nurse at the bedside repeats it back verbatim. That confirms it was heard and understood correctly. Then, after the action is done, you close the loop. Epinephrine is in. This system prevents med errors, it keeps the scribe on track, and it ensures the entire team is on the same page. It is absolutely non-negotiable.
Okay, now we need to talk about what happens after. Because the code doesn't end when you get ROSC, and it damn sure doesn't end when the doctor calls the time of death. For us, this next phase is just as critical.
That incredible rush, that feeling of being hyper-focused and full of energy, it is always followed by a crash. And that crash is real. It's like being dropped off a cliff without a parachute. And that fall can take you out not just for the rest of your shift, but for a long, long time. So, what's our parachute?
It's the debrief. This has to become our standard practice. Immediately after, the whole team takes 5 minutes. What went well? Compressions were excellent. The communication was crystal clear. What can we improve? We were a little slow finding the IO drill. This is never, ever about pointing fingers. It is about fixing systems, not blaming people. We do this to make the next time better for the next patient.
And for the experienced nurses listening right now, this is for you. The old stiff upper lip, suck it up and drive on culture, it's toxic. It leads to burnout, it leads to PTSD, and it shortens careers. We have to be the rocks that our newer nurses can stand on, acknowledging that what we just went through was hard, that it was traumatic. That is not weakness. It's a sign that you are still human.
So, I'm asking you, for our seasoned nurses, have you checked in on your younger colleague after that last tough code? And for our new grads, have you taken a moment for yourself? Have you done your 4-4-4 breath? You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot take care of anyone if you are broken on the inside. Now we've come to what I believe is the most important part of this entire thing. If death won, if we lost the fight, our job has only just begun. And the pace here has to change. The tone has to shift. We have to move from organized chaos to quiet reverence.
We have to take a moment. We have to stop. I don't care what you believe in, this is about respect. The body on that gurney was a person, a living, breathing human being with a story, with people who loved them. They were someone's entire world. And we owe them and their memory a moment of silence.
A resuscitation is a violent, brutal act. We break ribs. We leave a mess of wrappers and needles and blood. To just disconnect from that, to walk away and grab the next chart, it's not fair to the person who passed. And frankly, it's not fair to our own souls. We have to consciously transition from fighting for their life to honoring their death.
And this is how we do it. This isn't just cleaning a room, this is a ritual. We respectfully remove the tools of our fight. We clean the space. We bring in chairs and a box of tissues for the family who is about to have the worst moment of their lives in this room. We sit the person up, we wash their face, we put a clean gown on them. We are preparing them for their final goodbyes with the dignity every human being deserves.
This is it. This is our final act of nursing. This is our last moment of compassion for this patient. We treat them with the same gentle respect that we would want a stranger to show our own mother, our own father, our own child. This is what it means to be a nurse.
So let's bring it all home. Stay prepared. Check your own pulse first. Stay vocal. Use that closed loop. Stay humbled. Respect the patient in life and in death. And please, please do not disconnect. Debrief with your team and check in with yourself. Remember that what we do is a profound privilege.
Because this is the question we all have to answer, isn't it? After all the adrenaline, all the science, the broken ribs, and the grief, how do we choose to remain human? That choice, the one we make after every code, after every shift, that choice defines our practice. It preserves our careers, and it preserves our humanity.